Your corporate data needs to be protected, and one of the weakest parts in any security system are the users. Users may create easy-to-guess passwords such as your brand names, or use passwords that are easy to crack. Let's take a look at how you can manage user login issues by implementing protections for passwords within Azure Active Directory. A weak password, such as password 123 or 12345 and 6, are a risk for data security. You need to continually educate your users that such weak passwords cannot be used. However, if there's a chance that security could be breached, it's often better to use password protection features within Azure Active Directory, which allow you to enforce the use of complex or strong passwords. A complex or strong password should be at least 8 characters long and contain a combination of letters, both upper and lowercase, numbers, and symbols. They should also be changed on a regular basis, at least every year, and never written down or passed to another person, including the help desk. The table shown on screen highlights the password complexity settings that can be managed in Azure Active Directory. These include complexity, character set, password length, and character class, which controls the amount of different character types that must be used for a password. Microsoft employ a team of experts within the Azure AD Identity Protection team, which analyze Azure AD telemetry and look for the use of weak passwords. When such passwords are found, they're added to a global banned password list. Whenever a user anywhere in the world tries to set a password, the validation process checks the banned password list and will reject the use of any password that's found on the list. An example of a banned password would be password 123. There's also a feature within Azure AD for you to configure your custom banned passwords. Passwords that you might want to ban within your organization include brand names, product names, locations, for example, company headquarters or branch office locations, company-specific internal terms and commonly used words, and abbreviations that have specific meaning within your company. You can also upload a text-based list, which can contain up to 100 banned passwords. Let's drop onto our demo environment and take a look at how to configure a custom banned password list within Azure Active Directory. I've logged onto my Azure Active Directory, and on the left-hand side, under Manage, I'll select Security. Here you can see the security features for Azure Active Directory. Under Manage, I'll select Authentication Methods, and then select Password Protection. Here we can configure the custom Smart Lockout, including the threshold and duration in seconds. We can also configure a custom banned password list. I'll select Yes, and I can type in a password on each line and click Enter. Alternatively, I can paste in a list of passwords that I want banned. Each password will be validated by Azure AD. Each password must be between 4 and 16 characters in length. Let's amend these passwords. I'll remove the dog password, and we can see the list has been approved. I'll click Save. You don't need to worry about variations of passwords. The banned password feature automatically checks using upper and lowercase versions of your listed words and also common character substitutions. For example, O for 0 and 1 and exclamation mark are automatically considered. Let's return to the security dashboard. Azure AD also includes Identity Protection. Under Protect, I'll select Identity Protection. Here we can see there are 3 Protect policies: User Risk Policy, Sign-in Risk Policy, and Multi-Factor Authentication Registration Policy, which we saw earlier. These policies require Azure AD Premium P2 licenses and are disabled by default. But you should enable them in accordance to your corporate attitude to risk. The user risk policy is used to calculate the normality of a user's behavior. This calculation is then used to determine if a user's identity has been compromised. The sign-in risk policy analyzes signals from each sign-in and then calculates a risk score based on the probability that the sign-in was not performed by the authentic user. For example, was the sign-in from a malware-linked IP address or from an anonymous browser? Or did it have unfamiliar sign-in properties such as being overseas? If a risk is identified by one of these policies, then an action will be taken. For example, a user may be forced to use MFA or have their account blocked. You can view reports based on these Azure AD Identity Protection policies in the Azure AD Admin Center.